Before I took part in the campaign, I was applying for graduate jobs. I was still at university in my last year, and it so happened during the time that I had to submit some of my assessments, I fell really ill. So I had a major operation, which means while my colleagues were giving their assessments, I was on a hospital bed, and afterwards when I came out of hospital, I still had to recover. So I was behind on my work. And it's not just that, because I was on my third year literally summarized my whole degree. Your degree depended on how well you did in your third year. So I was really, really devastated. So then when the campaign came, this was the opportunity for me. The reason why I took part in the campaign, because physically there was nothing that I could have done for me to be able to achieve the grade that I wanted to achieve, or for me to be able to receive the job that I wanted. So when the campaign came, I went for it because I had previously taken part in a campaign and God had honored me. So I knew the power of the campaign. I did my spiritual part as well, praying. I couldn't really food fast because I just came out of hospital, but I fasted from media. And after I surrendered my sacrifice, I went on and did my physical part. It was really hard to physically study, but I pushed myself. I surrendered my sacrifice in December, and by April I applied for a graduate job, and I was given a position. And by May, I received the grade that I actually wanted. And to be honest with you, I don't attribute this grade to my own efforts, because I couldn't have physically been able to do it. It was all by my faith. It was all by God answering my sacrifice. And yes, I'm blessed and happy.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Finding Answers. How are you? How are you right now? Even if you're not well, it doesn't matter, because you will be well. Now, I want to show you something that I brought here with me to the program today. I have this, I don't know if the camera can show it, this little thing that a lot of people have in their office, right? Before I show you how it works, I'm sure you know how it works. But before I get this to work here, I want to tell you something. How much do you want to change your life? How badly do you want to make your life better? Perhaps you wake up every day and you think, if I only could make my life better. If I could only do something, one thing, one event, one action that would start a chain reaction in my life for the better. And everyone wants their life to change, but how do you do it? The reality is that there are people right now in this world that are struggling, that are suffering. And let's not even talk about the world, let's talk about the UK. Because this program is being broadcasted here in the UK right now. On Saturday, I was talking to someone who told me, James, you need to go to Africa. Go to Africa because there you'll see people really suffering. Perhaps in a way that's true, but right there, next to where you live, your neighbor, your next door neighbor, perhaps he's going through a problem, serious problem that you don't even know about. Perhaps you don't even need to go to your next door neighbor. Maybe yourself, you who are watching me now, there inside your own home, things are upside down. Maybe you've been given the bad news that your health is deteriorating. Maybe you've been given the bad news that someone you trusted hurt you, cheated on you, someone who really let you down. Maybe you have contemplated doing something really silly, really stupid, something that you would regret for the rest of your life because that's how desperate you feel. Now, when we started the program, we said, how much do you really want to change your life? The truth is, change has to start somewhere. Again, before I show you, can we get this in the shot again? Before I show you this in action, because this very much has to do with your life, remember that change has to start somewhere. I have here with me, as usual, Esther. How are you, Esther?
Hello, good evening, I'm well.
Esther, nothing can change unless it starts somewhere. Do you agree?
Yes, it's got to start somewhere. There's always the first step. Personally, I quite like change, but a lot of people struggle with change. So it can be, depending on what your personality is like, it can be a good or a bad thing for you. But nevertheless, when you make change, something happens, and something is better than nothing.
Absolutely. But you were talking about change, and for some people, they prefer not to change. They prefer to stick with things the way they are. Actually, for them to change is very daunting, right? But the thing is that for me to change, for example, if a person wants to lose weight, the weight is not just going to drop off. They have to do something, right?
Yeah, I mean, they can visualize what they want and their end goal, but really, you've got to put the work in.
Yeah, if you just visualize, it doesn't make the weight go away, right? What's usually the step? What
you
the
have
steps?
to physically do something. In the case of losing weight, it is physically exercise steps, but yeah, you've got to make the first move, whether it's picking up the phone, whether it's writing a letter to, your debts or something. It's not going to magically happen. You have to do something, and that's what we're discussing today.
Absolutely. And I want to talk to you right now, you that say, James, I don't just wish that my life could change. I want it to change. I look at my life and it's not the picture of what I wanted it to be. I want something to happen. And there is one thing that if you were to do, perhaps it would already start a chain reaction in your life, a chain of changes. And that's what you need to do. Perhaps what you need is to call upon God, to ask Him for help. Maybe you say, James, I've done that. Have you really? Think about that. What is it really to ask, to cry out for help? To cry out for help is really when you're desperate and you make your voice heard. Have you really done that? Perhaps you've thought about asking God for help, but what you've never done is you've never done that. Let's see, I hope this works. We tried it earlier, it did, and if you're watching me there, you can see a bit of sellotape there. This has been sitting in the office for the best part of 10 years, and I just dusted it off and brought it with me today. But what you need to do is you need to do that. You need the change has to start somewhere like this, right? And it's a chain reaction. If you do that, if you say, my God, I need your help. I remember when I first heard that, when I first heard someone praying like this, I thought the person was being very offensive with God. I'll be honest with you. I thought the person was saying, "How this guy is arrogant. How can he talk to God like that?" But the truth is, if I were talking to my dad, to my mom, and I was desperate for help, if I needed something urgently, I would say, "Mom, look, you have to help me. I don't know what else to do. You please look at my situation and help me." I don't think that's offensive. Is that offensive?
No, sometimes you have to ask.
I caught you by surprise there, Esther.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking about how, when you were talking, I was thinking about how it's so easy to see where other people should change, or you're like, oh, my sister or my brother or my parents. And it's a lot more difficult to just, see where you have to make changes.
Absolutely. And actually, it's hard for a person to recognize that they need to change. Because for me to point out your mistakes, it's easier. For me to say, Esther, you need to be more like this. It's a lot easier because I'm taking the focus away from me. When the problem is with me, then it's a lot harder, like you said.
Yeah, and people get upset really easily. They take it offensively. And maybe it's meant offensively sometimes. But like your family or your close friends, you should be able to say, am I doing something that's not working? And they should be able to tell you.
And actually, maybe you're listening to me now and you say, James, I find it hard to accept what you said because I have asked God for help. I have. But maybe you have asked God to have pity on you. Maybe you have asked God, please God, have pity on me. You've tried to make God feel sorry for you. And I've got news for you. God doesn't feel sorry for you, nor does He feel sorry for me. God does not react to anyone trying to touch a nerve in His emotions. God reacts to faith. And this thing that you saw here, as showing you earlier, I'm just trying to get this thing to work again. Do you know what this is? Please, can we get the camera there again? This is called faith. This is faith Do you know what faith is? Faith is saying, my God, if you are out there, if you care about me, and I believe you do, then change my life. I'm coming to you because nobody else can help me. So please do something about my life. And when you do that, believing that an answer will come, that's called faith. So when you call this program asking for a prayer, don't do that like playing the lottery. Don't like, you know, you choose a few numbers there, let's see if it works. That's not what faith is about. Faith is being sure. Is being sure. I'm sure when I stood up from the chair before I started this program, I was sure that my legs would stand my weight and I could stand here before you. I'm sure that if I open my mouth to speak to you, my words will come out. My English would be enough for you to understand me. I was sure. And that's how sure you have to be that when you ask God for help, He's going to help you. If you're watching me now and you're desperate, you need help right now, you say, James, I can't wait until tomorrow. Be the change you want to see by asking Him to do something amazing, extraordinary in your life. We're going to watch a video in just a moment, but I want you to take note of this telephone number that will be available for you to call throughout the program. Please, I ask you, if you're going to call to see if something happens, then please don't call. Don't pick up the phone. Keep it for yourself. But if you say, James, I'm desperate for help. I want God to come down and show me that He can change my life, and I believe He can. Then call this number. Speak to someone now. Empty your heart with your problems, because this could be the first step to the change in your life. The number to call is 020-7686-6300. You can also contact us by email, help@findinganswers.tv. Esther is ready here with the iPad, right?
Yeah.
Have you mastered the iPad already?
Yeah, I really like it.
Good. All right. So Esther is going to be here ready to read your emails. I'll be here to advise you. Later on, Pastor Alvaro, one of our pastors, will be here also to answer your emails and to tell you about the campaign of all campaigns, the campaign of the Temple of Solomon. Watch this video. We're not going to a break yet. I'll be back in just 1 minute and 30 seconds, which is the duration of this video. We'll be right back.
Change. It's like a kid playing in the sandpit. Change is no routine, yet it is constant. Perhaps it's the never-ending hand on the clock, or the change of time. Perhaps it's the seasons, one lined up after another. But what if that's just the surface? Could there be more to change as you dig deeper? It's there the very moment we are born, and perhaps the very pinnacle of our life, yet why do we not see it? Why do we never admit that we have changed? Perhaps we don't want change, because we need change. Maybe change isn't the stepping stones to reaching our goals. And maybe change isn't any of them, because it's all of it. Change is moving forward.
Welcome back. So just before we go for the break, the actual break, the email address for you to write right now, we'll have access to the emails now, is help@findinganswers.tv. Take note of that email address, help@findinganswers.tv. If you say, James, if I write an email to you that is quite long, you know, will you really have time to read it? We'll do our best. We'll find a way here. You know, Esther will try to find a way to let us know the emails come through.
Yep.
And we will help you as much as we can. But one thing is for sure, release that first action of faith. Do that. Do that tonight, today. During this program, do that, because that could be the beginning of the change in your life. We're going to go to a break and we'll be right back.
When we want to reach our goals, we research, act, and make sure we know everything there is to know about that topic. We study hard because that is the intelligent thing to do. This is the same for our development as a Christian. The Faith School is designed for those who want a degree in spiritual growth, those who want to separate time to study the Holy Bible and follow God's path for their life. There is no admissions fee and it's suitable for every level of learner. You will learn how to interpret the Word of God for your daily life and become stronger internally. Do you want to find inner peace and spiritual strength? Then this course is for you. The Faith School, every Wednesday at your local UCKG Help Centre. For more information, call 020 7686 6000 or visit our website uckg.org.
Hi, the Chrissy B Show airs live on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, coming to your homes with entertainment, life issues as well as hard-hitting topics, coupled with friendly and practical advice. I love to look at the happier side of life and believe a person can achieve amazing things when they put their mind to it. The Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life.
Welcome back. We're going to leave that phone line open, and the email addresses, or the email address rather, if you want to send us your email, please do so. We'll be answering your emails as much as we can, dealing with whatever you're going through and trying to help you as much as we can. Let me introduce you now to Chantel, who's here in the studio with me, and she's going to tell us about her story. How are you, Chantel?
I'm very well.
You okay?
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to the program. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did your problems begin, Chantel?
A few years ago, I was in an unhealthy relationship with the father of my children. A lot of infidelity, a lot of disrespect, a lot of anger.
From which side?
The infidelity was on his side, anger was on mine.
Right. So you had an anger issue.
Yeah, I did. I was very angry with him. I felt as though he was contaminating the family life that I believe that we were working so hard to achieve. And having two children together, I felt as though he was compromising that in a big way. And so I had a lot of trust issues with him, although I still decided to stay in the relationship after finding out about what he had been up to. It was hard. Him going out, I'd always want to know where he was, what time he was coming back. I didn't like him leaving the house. We ended up in physical fights. There's a lot of issues.
So you didn't trust him at all?
No.
Of course, because of the way he behaved. Now you said you got into physical fights.
Yes.
You attacked him, he attacked you?
I attacked him and he retaliated and attacked me back, yeah.
So that was a very, very unhealthy relationship, right?
It was, yes.
I imagine that ended, I suppose.
It did, yes. We were together for 10 years, but it was the last few years of that relationship that majority of those issues and problems came to the surface. So I decided to come out of that relationship. I've realised that I didn't actually love him the way I should have loved him, and vice versa. He wasn't loving me in the way I believed I deserved to be loved. And although my confidence was very low and I was very upset and bitter and angry, I knew that I deserved better than what I was receiving.
So when you left that relationship and you had all these issues, I mean, what did you try to do? How was your life after that relationship?
A lot of distractions, a lot of unhealthy distractions. Started having relations with another guy. I had no interest in him at all. No one even understood what I was even doing, you know, showing any attention to this guy. But it was just a distraction and to stop me going back to their dad.
So for you, that was a way of getting your mind off that other relationship?
Yes.
Okay. But you had a lot of inner issues after that. You said your confidence was very low. So, I mean, were you trying to boost your confidence? What were you trying to do?
Possibly, yes. I was doing a lot of things. I was going out a lot more, you know, clubbing and raving. I started getting tattoos. Yeah, I was just behaving out of character. I'd lost a lot of weight. My hair started falling out. It was just a knock-on effect, you know. And there was things that was just, I felt depressed and I felt low, and I felt as though I was fighting for something or trying to hold on to something for 10 years of my life, and it just came to nothing. And one thing I was fighting was to not be a single mother. I didn't want to raise my children in a one-parent household. So
the one thing you didn't want is the one thing that happened.
Yes.
Actually, we have a picture. Can we show the picture of how you were before? Just one. We only have one. That's you.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember that particular day?
Yeah.
Or were you, I mean, you looked like were you drinking?
I was, yes. I'm not even sure if I was even in a car at that point, either in a car or in a club, but yeah.
So all these things, when people hear you saying that, like getting tattoos and going clubbing and raving, it's not like you're hurting anyone, but you were doing that as a way to try, to forget about your problems?
Yeah, try and mask the pain that I was in. And it was more to do with myself, not even so much to do with him anymore. I realised that there was a lot of issues and a lot of insecurities within me. He just brought them out with his behaviour, and I wasn't facing up to myself.
So how did you continue? I mean, you said you became depressed?
Yes, I did.
How did that affect you, the depression?
It affected me greatly. I lost, around the same time of that relationship breaking down, I lost a long-term job that I had at a high street bank, and that was my security blanket. You know, I was earning good money, I was able to do a lot of things, and I was living a nice lifestyle. So to lose a relationship as well as my job, it had a big knock-on effect to me. You know, my debt started piling up because I couldn't afford to pay the things that I was normally used to paying. Everything just started going downhill.
Now, you were doing a lot of things, but none of those things were aimed at solving your problems.
No.
None of those things were aimed at getting a job back or dealing with the issues you had. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people turn to alcohol, to drugs, to stuff like that as a way of masking the problems and never really dealing with them. Yeah. I mean, while you were in those circumstances, did your life ever get any better?
No, not really. It might have seemed so, but I wouldn't say it was getting any better. You know, I was still very thin. You know, people could physically see. You know, at one stage I felt as though I hid it well. You know, I was just managing, you know, what I was going through. But as soon as the weight started dropping off me and my hair started falling out, people obviously noticed. You know, my mum was very concerned about me and so forth. And, you know, my energy levels, I was sleeping all the time. You know, I wasn't spending as much time with my children as what I should have been.
So people started to see that something was wrong,
yes.
Right? I mean, Esther, you listening to her story, I mean, as a woman, for her to be by herself at that time, I mean, it must have been difficult. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah. Hi, Chantel. I'm just wondering whether when you were spiraling into this dark and this gloom, it sounds like it all happened quite quickly. I'm just wondering, was there people around you that sort of woke up to it and said you need to change or you need to do something? Did you have quite a big effect on their lives?
I had a lot of people around me. I have quite a big family and friends as well, support network. But a lot of my friends were more or less doing the same as what I was. So it's hard to advise someone when you're you know, in the same situation. And if anything, they probably thought that I was handling it a lot better than possibly they would have been.
And the father of your children, did he try and come back and intervene in any way when you started to spiral?
As in what, to try and help me?
Just to say, even if we're not together or whatever, you're not good for the kids, or?
No, no, because it wasn't in the sense of that, you know, my parenting skills were bad. It was just that the quality time that you would spend with your children, I didn't have the motivation for that. I felt tired all the time, you know, I felt low, I just didn't feel myself. As for him, he went through a stage of, if he wasn't with me, then, you know, he felt as though he was hurting me by not seeing the children. And my point was, you know, you're still their father, you're hurting them and yourself, not me. So, you know, we had our issues even after the separation. And, you know, as things were going further, I realised that there was no way I was going to go back into that relationship, you know.
Okay. So tell me something, I mean, what, after being into that depression, struggling with, you know, dealing with all these things that had damaged you from the previous relationship you were in, what was the lowest point of your life? When was the point that you thought, I mean, I don't know if I can take much more of this?
Well, around that same time, I became very, my skin broke out, eczema, and usually it's when people are stressed or dietary, and I was very stressed, and eczema just came like from my head to my toe. It covered practically my whole body, and that was probably the lowest time. I didn't leave out the house at all. You know, my mum was around all the time, and if I did leave out the house, I was always covered up, you know, from head to toe. I'd have hats on, scarves, you know, even if it was warm outside, I wouldn't be dressed like it was summertime.
So if you had, if your confidence was very low before, after the eczema broke out, I imagine it put another dent in how you felt.
Yes, even more so, yes.
Okay. What about all the dreams you had? Because I know that you had big dreams before things started to fall apart. What happened to those dreams? Did you still believe you could achieve those things, or did you start to lose faith into what you could do with your future?
Yeah, I stopped thinking about them. They became further and further away. The vision for my life was blurred. I felt lost. I didn't feel as though I was myself. I knew the potential that I had, but I didn't have the strength. I didn't feel as though I had the strength to achieve what it is that, you know, I felt I could have achieved beforehand.
Okay. Now, the last thing I wanted to ask you before the break. Did you think I need to do something about this, about my situation? Or did you blame, for example, your ex-partner and people who didn't help you? Did you blame people, or did you think I have the responsibility to change my life and I need to do something?
Oh, yes, definitely. I knew that it wasn't healthy to blame him. You know, although he had his faults and he played a big part in, you know, the breakdown of our family, I knew that I had a role to play in that also. You know, I could have handled things a different way too. So yeah, I knew that, you know, the power was in my hands, in the sense of for me to take action and for me just to sort myself out.
Right. Okay, so maybe you're watching me now and you say, James, I know I need to do something. I just don't know what. I don't know what I need to do. If someone were to tell me, I would do it. I just know that I'm desperate for help. I need someone to show me some kind of light, to show me a way, to show me what to do, because I need to do something. So if you want to know what to do, if you want direction, stay there where you are, because later on in the program, Pastor Alvaro will be explaining to you about the campaign of all campaigns, the campaign of Israel that is happening at the Temple of Solomon. We'll be explaining more about that to you a little bit later. Now, if you want to speak to someone about the problems you're going through, if you want to know how to use your faith to change your life, then we have a team of pastors as usual available to speak to you, or you can contact us by email, and we'll be reading your emails later on in the show. We're going to go into a break. We'll come back to hear how Chantel went from having, you know, she didn't believe in her dreams that much anymore, to now living the dream. Because now you're living the dream, right? Are you living the dream?
I am.
Part of the dream?
Part
Maybe
of the dream.
There's a bigger part to come?
There's a much bigger part to come.
So you're going to hear how she's starting to live the dream right now. We'll be right back. Chantel said that she knew that the change had to start with her. Many people know that. They just don't want to start that change. Now, let's see what the people in London have to say about being the change. How do you start the change?
You know, there's no stereotype anymore.
Protect yourself, sometimes you probably do.
It will heal, but it will always...
They're humans, they have the ability to use their initiative.
Find it difficult to just be happy in this life.
Hello, I'm Esther Shepherd for Finding Answers on the Streets. Now, Mahatma Gandhi said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." How do you adapt to change, and how important is change for a great life? How important do you think it is to make changes in your life?
Oh, it's very important, because you need to notice things and move on in order for there to be a change for the better. So it's important, I suppose.
It has to be changed. Before, people, they were more kind, more caring about each other. Now they have almost everything, and they want more and more and more. They forgot about the elderly, they forgot about the God, a lot of nice things in the world, and we see the result. They are not happy. All of them, most, of course, not everyone, but maybe 30%, they sit at home with computers, and this is their world.
Yeah, that's a good quote. You should try and make things happen. If you want to see change, you should take part in it and actively try to bring about the change that you want to see happen. But I suppose it's a shame that not many people do in some circumstances. I think, sort of rationally speaking, for small groups to organise, there's no incentive if it's only going to affect a certain amount of people. So it's only when it's a mass organisation that lots of people are going to contribute to that people are really going to think, well, I can really make a difference here. But when it's only a couple of people,
I think it's important to reflect on your past experiences and on your personality as well, and look at what you've gone through and see those experiences as a lesson, and take a few steps, reflect, I don't know, maybe write something down or look at an inspirational quote or picture or something, and see how you can move on and be strategic about it. And I think sometimes the hardest part is to actually do what you say you would do. But I think if you give it time and if you're strategic about it, you can go very far about making that change and actually sticking to it. So it's about writing something down, making a plan, being proactive.
What do you know? We have a call on the line, and it's the person who brought you to the church, Chantel, right? I think so. Hi, good evening.
Hi there, you alright?
Who am I speaking to?
You're speaking to Joseph.
Joseph, was it you that brought Chantel to the church?
Yeah.
Did you guys plan this? Did you plan to call?
No, not at all.
So tell me, did you know Chantel before, or how did you invite her to come to the church?
Well, basically, I saw her walking in Catford, in the area of Catford, and just honestly speaking, her face was down. She was pushing a pram. I remember this day; it was a hot day. She was pushing a pram with her kids, and she just looked really burdened. It was tough.
Do you remember that day, Chantel?
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah.
You do. Were do you remember that? Were you down a lot at that time?
I knew that. I'd moved to a new house, so I was trying to adjust to new surroundings and a new environment.
Okay, Joseph. But why did you call? What do you want to say, Joseph?
Well, basically, I just wanted to. I saw the question and I thought it was quite interesting because it was something that related to me as well. Why it's important to change. Mine was related to my education, really. When I started off really well in school, but then I just started spiraling down. It was dreadful. I started misbehaving in class. I started to get distracted by girls. I started to get addictions, and these were things that started clouding my whole vision on life, my whole perception on my future. So it got to the point where I failed my examinations really badly, really, really badly. And I remember coming home to my mum and seeing the disappointment on her face, seeing the shock, the look of shock, the look of disappointment, the look of almost betrayal from her, for her last-born son to bring shame like this upon the family. So I remember feeling horrible, dreadful on that day, because then that's when I realized that I needed to change. That was the point, the key point where I realized that I needed to change, because if I didn't change, then nothing, my life wouldn't really come up to nothing.
And did you change?
Yeah, very much so. Totally different life now. I graduated from university. My graduation ceremony is on the 25th of July. I've got a good job now as an accounts manager at a company called Veolia Environmental Services.
You didn't have to say the name of the company, but okay.
Okay.
Okay, so bottom line is you've made a change.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You were the change. Okay. I'm going to have to leave it there because we only have a few minutes to listen to the rest of Chantel's story. But thank you very much for calling, okay?
All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks. In a way, you owe the change to your life partly to that young man.
Yeah, partly.
Isn't it? But tell me something. How did your life change by coming to the church?
I started taking my faith serious. I started doing chain of prayers on Mondays, Fridays, and coming to Wednesday and Sunday service. I was taking, the message more serious. I was trying to put it into practice in my life. I was looking a bit more deeper within myself, things that I had to deal with, things that I had to change. And I just started growing. My confidence started growing more. My vision started becoming more clearer. I realised that, this wasn't the be all to end all, that, there were great things ahead of me. I just needed to believe and trust and take action. I didn't want to be a passive Christian. I didn't want to just come to church and sit there and, go home and nothing changed. I was serious, in, coming to the church and activating my faith. I was taking part in, purposes now and then, but then a campaign was announced which I decided to take part in. I believed in the testimonies, I believed in the results that people were seeing, and I believed in the power of it. So, I started seeing even more changes. My spiritual life started growing. I felt as though my relationship with God was growing. I felt like, he was listening to me and I could hear him too.
What about those dreams you had that you had stopped believing? What about those dreams? I mean, did they start to be more real for you, achievable?
They did. Not at first. At first I was just doing the basics, thinking, just get another job and, just to get by, start trying to clear off my debts and so on and so forth. But as time, seeds were being planted, my vision started growing and I just started seeing things better than what they were. I weren't looking at my circumstances. I had a lot of debts. I had a lot of financial restrictions. I was on benefit with 2 children. But I believed that God would change my situation.
Right. And how are things today?
Things today is, for the last 2 and a bit years, I've been running my own women's fashion boutique.
We have a few pictures, I think, of the inauguration, let me see. Do we have the pictures there? Yes? No? Can we show them? I hope we have. Yes, there you are, cutting the ribbon. Do you remember that day?
Yes, I do.
You look like a proud business owner there.
I was very proud. Yeah.
We have a few more pictures of your boutique, so that's part of your shop front.
Display. Yeah.
Great. I mean, looking at that now, how do you feel? You've come a long way. How does it feel to finally realizing a dream that you had?
No, it feels amazing. That day feels so long ago. I feel like so much has happened in such a short space of time. The business has grown to a whole nother level where I have, staff now. I'm looking to expand the business and grow my brand. And doors have been opened and more opportunities have come my way. Things that I didn't even ask for or even see happening have been happening.
And it all started with that one day that you're walking in front of the church in Catford with the pram and someone said, "Come in."
Yes.
Come in because you look like you're down. Imagine. That one day, imagine if that day, oh Chantel, you said no and you had walked by. Your life probably would have continued to go in that same direction. But the fact that you accepted that invitation and you started to take God and your faith seriously today, you are here to tell your story.
I am.
It's amazing. Thank you so much. And we were talking about being the change, and that one step in a different direction change the direction of our life as well. We're going to go into a break. When we come back, Pastor Alvaro will be here with me, and he will be answering one of the emails, the mail of the day, and also telling us a little bit more about the greatest of all campaigns, the campaign of the Temple of Solomon. We'll be right back.
If you're a single mother suffering from a troubled past, then don't lose hope. There's always someone you can turn to. We understand. With all the challenges of everyday life, the financial responsibility, and the pressure of being a single parent, life can be overwhelming at times. Single parents and their children can flourish, but without the right support, a family can fall apart. The Tamar Group is there for lone parents who need guidance, support, and encouragement to get them through their everyday battles. Whether it's a group discussion, a mother and child bonding session, or some personal advice, we are here for you. Everyone needs a helping hand at one point or another. Let us be yours. For more information on our meetings and where the nearest Tamar Group is to you, then visit our website uckg.org/Tamar or give us a call on 020 7686 6000.
Welcome back. So it's a pleasure to introduce Pastor Alvaro, who is here with me. Hi, how are you, Pastor Alvaro?
I'm doing great, James.
You
excited,
okay?
By the way.
Excited, because we are expecting extraordinary things.
Exactly.
Do you want to read the mail of the day?
Yes, let's go. So her name is Amelia. She says here, I want to move on in my love life, but I have a bad habit that has been hindering me. I'm too attached to my past relationship. I find myself mentally comparing guys to my ex and also looking for similarities to him in the man I choose to date. This all makes no sense because my ex was not the right partner for me, and I was the one who decided to break off the relationship. Mm-hmm. So she says here, I feel like I'm tied to him somehow. I don't understand why. I just want to be that carefree woman without relationship baggage. So I see the presenters and guests, so she's talking about us here, on this program. They are married, and I want to ask your advice on how I can attain this, as no one in my family has been happily married ever. Mm-hmm. So, Amelia, and anyone else who is watching there, we can see here that she spoke about being attached to the past relationship. Mm-hmm. And this is something that many people do. And what do? They can't forget, you know, the person they dated.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they had good moments. In the case of Amelia, not only good moments, she had bad moments. And she decided to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
So she's having this habit. She's saying, I can't overcome this. So James, in the beginning of the program, we were talking about change. So I believe that what she needs to do now is to change her mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, come to terms and once and for all decide that this relationship is over. Because as long as she is thinking about the past, she's never going to have a new relationship with anybody.
And it's not fair also on the people or the person that she's in a relationship with, because she's bringing all that heavy baggage with her, doesn't even give the guy a chance. Now it also seems to me, because she said that everyone in a family has never had a happy relationship.
Yes.
It could be the case of a curse there, because that's not normal.
Yes, no, definitely. We deal with this all the time. You know, people who come saying, my mother, you know, got married more than once. My grandmother the same. So yes, and curses, they can affect people. They are affecting people. But the problem is that people don't know that they exist. That's why they try all sorts of, you know, alternatives, and yet they don't find results.
Now, I would like you to explain to us, as a pastor, you are stationed in the church in Catford, right?
Yes, that's right.
I'd like you to explain to us about the campaign of all campaigns, the campaign of the Temple of Solomon. For example, how can that help someone like Amelia?
Definitely. James, this campaign, you know, when I talk about it, you know, I feel goosebumps.
I get excited.
No, I do, because, you know, as I was telling you, I came to the church when we were having a campaign. I was new to this kind of, you know, sacrificial faith. I didn't even know about this, you know, this topic. But when I came, my whole family was destroyed. My mother was dying. I was even telling people in the church, I gave my testimony actually last Sunday. So my mother was dying. She was diagnosed with incurable disease. My father had lost his company. So he went bankrupt.
Am I right in thinking that your dad was unfaithful to your mom as well?
Tell me about it, James. Look, my dad had more than 20 lovers because my mother was bedridden. So she wasn't giving him pleasure, right? I can talk like this openly because, you know, at this time. So he was going after other women. But this made things worse because she needed him. And to add more into the suffering here, my sister started taking drugs. She got involved with cocaine, and because money wasn't coming in, she started selling her body in order to, you know, to keep her addiction alive.
And your family, they don't come from they were not a poor family. They were a well-off family who then lost everything. Your mom got sick. So if there was a curse, your family had it.
Definitely. Right? There was something there. So we came in July and we heard about this campaign. And as I said, everything was new for us. You know, we were brought up in a religion that we didn't used to put faith into action, right? So I learned that I had to materialize my faith. And look how amazing. When we did it, I'm telling you, it wasn't easy. When I heard about, you know, showing my faith to God, it wasn't easy. But look how amazing. It didn't happen overnight. I don't want people to think that it's magic. But of course, it happened, you know, gradually. You know, the first thing that happened was my mother's healing. And that was amazing for me already, you know, to receive, you know, this good news from the doctor. The disease is gone. Because we were planning to bury my mother on that year. So the doctor said, look, the disease is gone. So I saw my father giving up his addiction, my sister the same as well. And then, you know, gradually, month after month, the business started developing and we were able to pay off the debts. The whole family was transformed.
And you know, Alvaro, we didn't have time with Chantel's story, but Chantel, she changed her life through a campaign.
Yes, she was telling me, exactly.
A campaign like this. And actually, the campaign of Israel is so special that happens twice a year. This time, it's going to be the campaign of all campaigns.
The greatest one.
Because it will happen in the Temple of Solomon. And we were explaining to you at the beginning of this week that the picture we showed you of the Temple of Solomon, I would even like to ask the production team to get a picture of the Temple of Solomon to show tomorrow on the screen. Let's have it ready. If they can take note of that, tomorrow we'll show it to you on the screen. So we don't have to show it to you on a piece of paper. And that building, years ago, didn't exist. I mean, that was a plot of land with old buildings, right? Some buildings there that, you know, were just some of them old. But one man had a vision. Chantel was a single mother on benefits.
Yes.
Talk about UK stereotypes, right? But when she came to God, she started to have this vision. Things can get better. And when, for example, over your family, before your family came to church and knew about God, you guys had no vision. The vision was that your mom was going to die, the business was bankrupt, but coming to God, your eyes were open.
Exactly.
And you understood that using your faith, sacrificing could change things.
I started dreaming again because I had stopped dreaming. You know, but when I heard that something could happen, so I started dreaming again. I said, yes, my family can change. And maybe this person who is watching us has already given up on her dreams. Maybe this person always, you know, thought about being happy in her love life, or seeing her children graduating, or, you know, developing financially speaking. But the opposite is happening. That was happening to me. And probably this person is saying, there is no hope for me, you know, what is the point of dreaming? I better not dream about anything so I can spare myself from extra frustration.
Yeah.
But, you know, the campaign changed my life.
You know, Alvaro, we have people watching us now who are bedridden, like your mom was. We have wives who are watching us now whose husbands, like your dad, have lovers. Not one, not two, but many. We have mothers, fathers who are watching us now whose children are on drugs, like your daughter, like your sister was. We have people watching us now, women, who are single mothers, not by choice. I don't believe that anyone in their right mind wants to be a single mother by choice. On benefits, who once had dreams, but now their dreams are packed away in a shelf, like Chantel was. But all these examples I just mentioned here today are of people who once had stopped dreaming, but now they're not only dreaming, but they are living their dreams, right? Your dad's business has never ever been this successful, is that right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, and today, you know, everything changed. You know, they give testimonies, they even go to different states, you know, in South America to talk about the change.
Actually, they came here to England recently.
They came here some time ago to talk about it. And people can have the same as well.
I think we have the picture of the Temple of Solomon. Do we have? I hope it's the right picture. Let's see there if it's the right picture. That's right. Look at that. Keep it there. Look at that beautiful building that will be inaugurated in just a few weeks, about 3 weeks. For the first time, that building will be inaugurated. Now, if you go back, if you rewind 6, 7 years, no one even knew that this building was going to be built or that it was there, but one man had it in his mind. Okay, you can come back to me now. And please, I want you to keep that picture there for us to use tomorrow and every day this week. Now, if this man could dream and this dream could come true, if a single mother who was on benefits could dream and her dream could come true, if Alvaro's family, if my family, if we could, then yours can as well. If you want to know more about the campaign of all campaigns and how to take part, send us an email, help@findinganswers.tv, and we'll be explaining more to you by email. You can come and see us if you want. But I want to invite you now for the prayer. Chantel will be joining us here as well in the prayer. And Alvaro, I would like you to make this prayer.
Definitely.
Because your family, they tasted this change. My family as well, but you're here with us every Tuesday. It's going to be a good opportunity for you to pray for these people that are watching us now and perhaps are going through the same thing. I think your family went through many things at the same time. Sickness, addiction, unfaithfulness, broken marriage. And if God could restore their lives through the power of God and through the campaign of Israel and now the campaign of all campaigns, then He can do the same for these people. Prepare your glass with water. Let's talk to God now.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like a prayer concerning your financial life, send your name and prayer request to prayer@findinganswers.tv.
Please, you who have just turned on your TV, you who have been watching us from the beginning of this program. I want to say to you now, as we pray, that there is hope for you. The changes that I experienced, you can also experience. My God, right now we stretch out our hands to these people. I know that right now there is a mother in tears. There is a wife in pain. There is a husband who is depressed. Right now, maybe this person is contemplating suicide, not knowing what else to do. I know that right now, my God, there are people looking at us, watching us, because you made this person turn on his TV, her TV, and listen to this prayer. My God, I ask you that right now, your power may reach these people. This person who is hopeless, this person who is desperate. Please, my God, touch this person and remove these burdens, these negativities. Remove these thoughts of hopelessness. I know what you can do, my God. You changed my life. You changed my family. And I know the same can happen to this person. So now, my Lord, begin to change what needs to be changed. Make the impossible become possible. Visit now, my Lord, the children. Visit now the husbands, the wives. Visit now these lives, my Lord, who are right now wrecked, destroyed. And change it, my God. Transform it. My God, I have no silver nor gold to give to these people. But what I have, what we have here, we give to them. Right now, there where you are, if you are able, please stretch out your hands to us. Because what we have, we pass on to you. Receive life. Receive freedom from these problems. Freedom from this suffering. Freedom from these feelings that are consuming you inside. We bless you. And we say to you, as today we are talking about changes, you will also have the opportunity. My God, may you inspire people and convince them to join this campaign, the campaign of all campaigns. Because the campaign is the opportunity for people to get out of their pit, for dreams to come true. So my Lord, may you convince people now. May you convince people to send us an email, to call us, so we can show them what they have to do. Father, we surrender the lives of all those who are watching us. We consecrate this glass of water and we determine that your power is inside of it. And as we drink together, Lord, we're going to be filled with your presence, with your power now. And I determine that people are going to start afresh. As of today, I determine that their lives will no longer be the same. In Jesus' name. If you have your glass of water, drink with us in faith. Believe in this change.
That's it, dear friend. We've come to the end of our program. And just reminding you, if you want to know more about the campaign of all campaigns, how to take part, how to change your life, then contact us by email, help@findinganswers.tv. We'll be back with you again tomorrow night at the same time with more testimonies, life-changing testimonies. Until then, have a wonderful night. May God bless you.